here today on the Tidal Trent. It's a really nice stretch of water just below Cotton Power Station at a place called Littleborough. Beautiful fishing, loads of fish, barbel, one or two bream, skimmers, loads of hybrids. Hopefully today we'll catch a mixed bag, and I'm going to show you how simple it is to fish. Ideally, you just need a simple setup. You need a 13 or 14 foot decent feeder rod with a nice powerful reel loaded with 6 to 8 pound reel line, and an assortment of feeders, open end feeders for ground bait fishing from 2 ounce to 4 ounce. On the Tidal, the banks can be a bit tricky, and today we've picked a nice cattle drink peg which is comfortable. It's just where the cows come down to drink. They haven't bothered us today. This cattle drink is situated upstream of power cables. Never ever fish under the power cables. Look at the signage and fish outside the limits, and if you're still a bit worried about it, keep well away and fish upstream. The best time to fish the Tidal is just before it tops out, which is high tide, and then on the runoff. The next 2 hours after the runoff should be the best time. During the session today, the tide's come up probably 4 foot and gone down probably 4 foot as well. So you have to be careful when fishing and placing your box on the bank. Always look for the wet tide line from the tide before and try and place it above that, just above that tide line. I always look at the high tides at King George Dock in Hull, and because we're so far upstream from the Humber, it takes roughly 3 hours of the tide travelling to peak at Littleborough. For an example, if it says high tide at 12 o'clock midday at King George's Dock, it'll be 3 o'clock when it arrives at Littleborough. The secret of fishing the Tidal Trent is to be very active. Don't sit there waiting for things to happen, make them happen. Cast regularly, maybe once every minute, on the principle of feeding little and often. Although you'll be putting plenty of bait through your swim, it'll be little and often, and it entices the fish right up to your feeder, and maintain that and you'll get bites vertically as your feeder hits the bottom. The reason you have to be active and cast regular is because you need to feed your peg. The pace of your current will wash your bait out straight away, and you'll be sitting left there with no bait. Just keep putting it in all the time and the fish will come right up to your feeder. The session today took a while to get bites, and it always does early on the Tidal. You have to build it up, and it took us probably half an hour, 40 minutes before bites started, but that can also be due to the pace of the river. Once it starts to slow and it starts towards high tide, the river slows and then you start to get bites. When I started the session today, the river was backing up, really ripping in. I used a 4 ounce feeder, used a size 14 carbon feeder hook, which was about perfect for fishing 2 or 3 maggots when the session started. Later in the session, when the tide turned and started to run off powerfully, I've switched to a super speed tied to 0.22, and it's been absolutely perfect. Fishing 3 or 4 maggots for a piece of corn, I've really caught well on it. Swapping to that stronger gauge of hook really did help to battle the fish in this current. These new hooks to nylon are absolutely fantastic. There's 3 different patterns and 3 different sizes in each pattern. They're all on fluorocarbon material. They're 1 metre long and perfectly tied. The benefits of fluorocarbon is it's much stiffer than mono, and it's stronger, and it's almost invisible to fish in the water. These new pre-tied hook lengths have really helped my fishing. It saved me loads of time, and I can't time as good nowadays. At my age, 67, my eyes are going and they're tied as well as ever I could do. Today we've cast 25 to 30 metres, which is just sort of the middle of the river in about 15 to 18 foot of water. The rig itself is extremely simple. It's just a free running rig between 2 stops. You can vary them stops between like 1 inch up to 4 or 5 inches. The stretch I fished today is owned by Ashfield Angling Club, but there is absolutely loads of day ticket water along all of the Tidal, and it's a fantastic place to fish. If there is a downside to fishing the Tidal, it's the access points along the river. There isn't too many of them, so I would suggest that you lighten your kit up. We'll probably walk 500 yards today, which is not too bad. Once you're across the field on top of the flood bank, it's a steady walk and you've got lovely views walking to your chosen peg. We've had a red letter day today. We've had nearly 30 pounder fish, mostly hybrids or silver bream as they're called. We've had 1 or 2 roach, 1 or 2 quality perch and a few eels, and it's been an absolutely fantastic day. So don't take my word for it, come and give it a go yourself. Using these tactics I've shown you today, you can catch plenty of fish all the way through the Tidal.